Hey there, I'm Jim, and welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into love, psychology, attraction, and how to become the kind of person no one wants to lose. Today, I'm going to reveal how to make an avoidant miss you without saying a single word. Sounds wild, right? But this is exactly where your power lies, in your calm, your confidence, and your ability to control your energy. If you've ever been stuck in a relationship where they pull you close and then push you away, hot one moment, cold the next, this video is for you. Because here's the truth, you can't chase someone who fears connection, but you can make them feel your absence if you know how to step back the right way, at the right time, and hold your value firm. In this video, I'll show you how to pull away, not out of anger, but from self-worth. How to be silent, not to punish, but to become powerfully attractive in a calm, grounded way. If you're ready to stop chasing and start drawing people in, don't take your eyes off this video. Hit that subscribe button. I drop new videos every week to help you love smarter and stand stronger. Let's dive in and see how silence can speak louder than words. To truly understand how to make an avoidant person miss you without uttering a single word, you first have to grasp the avoidant mechanism operating in their mind. In the brain of an avoidant, two opposing forces constantly intertwine. On one hand, the craving for intimacy and connection, and on the other, the fear of having their inner world invaded. When you shower them with too much affection and too many loving words, they may seem thrilled at first, but their self-preservation nervous system immediately triggers a red alert, and the defensive wall instinctively rises. They step back, they go silent, they disappear as though an internal mechanism compels them to retreat the moment emotions grow too intense. This means that, contrary to common belief, they don't truly miss those who pursue them relentlessly with constant messages or overt displays of care. Rather, what etches itself into their memory is the exact opposite: the people who vanish unexpectedly, the sudden void so pronounced that they're left wondering, what happened? Why aren't they here anymore? It is within that mental vacuum that an avoidant heart goes quiet, and they begin to recognize the absence. When you subtly pull back, not out of anger or punishment, but because you understand your own worth, you demonstrate the value of emptiness, you pique their curiosity to the point they can't help thinking about you. That distance becomes a powerful catalyst for them to realize, when she's not around, I grasp how much I relied on her presence. At that moment, you don't need to send another text. Your silence, infused with confidence and steadiness, will beckon them to come back to you. And each return will carry deeper emotional resonance, from sweet longing to a yearning to soothe that sense of loss. This is when true attraction unfolds. You're not a desperate pursuer, but a source of warmth that feels safe up close and intriguingly mysterious when you step back. And when they start to miss you, they will miss the real you, not the exhausted echo of endless messages, but the image of a self-assured individual of value, someone genuinely worthy of their desire to return. Having just uncovered the magnetic power of distance and silence, we now move on to the total no-contact principle, an indispensable next step to make an avoidant person recognize your absence and long to reconnect. Transitioning from understanding that your absence can instill a sense of loss, you must ensure that this absence truly feels like an ending: no breadcrumbs, no clues, as if a cycle has irrevocably closed. First, no texts, no comments, no likes on their social media posts. Erase every channel of communication, disable any notifications related to them, and absolutely refrain from leaving any indirect breadcrumbs through story views or surreptitious likes. When you maintain total silence, the avoidant person not only notices you're gone, they sense unmistakably that the old cycle has ended with no immediate chance of revival. This is akin to closing a door. At first, they may linger outside, puzzled, then begin to knock, wondering if another doorway might open. Second, this absolute silence must create a peculiar void, causing all old habits surrounding you to evaporate. Avoid viewing their stories, ignore stray group messages, and even cease indirect interactions through mutual friends. That silence becomes an unspoken declaration that the previous relationship chapter is closed, compelling them to pause and wonder, what did I do wrong? Why isn't she showing up like before? Third, resist any urge to concede if they initiate minimal contact, an innocuous like or comment here or there, and Instead, maintain your no-contact stance, because even the slightest concession shatters the principle and allows the avoidant mechanism to revert to its familiar power dynamic. Once they begin speculating about your new life, perhaps you're busy, perhaps you've moved on, or perhaps you're thriving, they're at the pinnacle of the void's power. Fourth, during this no-contact interval, it's not only about silence with them, but also about immersing yourself in self-growth. Pursue new hobbies, reconnect with friends, refresh your personal image, and live with inspired energy. This not only helps you sustain silence organically, but also ensures they indirectly witness that your happiness doesn't hinge on them. Finally, the total no-contact principle isn't a short-lived tactic, it's a steadfast attitude in reconstructing your self-worth. Trust that when the distance is great enough that they can no longer track your steps, they will be unable to stop thinking of you, your smile, your gaze, your voice, and most importantly, the sense of safety you once provided. And precisely when they're questioning themselves, reevaluating every shared moment, that's when you regain agency over the future. To welcome them back or maintain your silence, contingent upon their demonstrated change and genuine commitment. The total no-contact principle, executed with self-respect and resolve, becomes the golden key that not only makes an avoidant person miss you, but drives them to seek you out with gratitude and a desire for a more authentic, lasting connection. Transitioning from the total no-contact principle to the next step, energetic detachment means you're not simply stopping texts or direct interactions. You must also decisively end all forms of covert monitoring on social media. No story checks, no sneaking peeks at their profile, no attention to any sign that they're online or active. If you continue to track them silently, your brain will remain entangled in focusing on them, and the avoidant person won't fully register a significant enough gap to feel compelled to reach out. Energetic detachment demands you relinquish both physical and mental engagement, so that when they look into the space between you two, they perceive not a temporary pause, but a profound shift in how you choose to live. This means, rather than performing your longing through melancholic stories or mood posts, you must redirect your mind and energy back to your own life. Dedicate time to emotional recovery after the silence. Foster personal growth through new hobbies, creative projects, or physical training to amplify positive energy. You might reorganize your living space, turning your bedroom into a reading, meditation, or yoga sanctuary. Schedule meetups with old friends, try a cooking class, or explore a skills development course. Allocate time to care for your skin, nutrition, and sleep. Each of these activities not only boosts your confidence and joy, but also cultivates a naturally attractive energetic frequency that piques anyone's curiosity when they pick up on it. Imagine waking up each morning with the goal of enriching your own experiences rather than opening your phone to glance at notifications from them. Each night before bed, you reflect on that day's small victories and plan for tomorrow, instead of waiting for an apology text or a simple check-in. When you live fully as an independent person, detached from all expectations and anxiety about their reactions, you generate a different wave of energy, not resentment, not waiting, but peace, fulfillment, and abundance. It is that wave that eventually permeates through the avoidance defenses, making them sense, she has truly moved on, she's living her life, and I can no longer be her center. And at that moment, your silence is not emptiness. It radiates a deep allure that compels them to wonder what it would take to step into your independent, vibrant world. Energetic detachment is not abandonment, but rather a bold affirmation of self-worth that invites them to actively demonstrate their desire for genuine connection. When most of your concern shifts from them to yourself, and you've constructed a fulfilling life, they will search for ways to reconnect, not simply to fulfill possessive wants, but to discover if there's still a place for them in this new chapter you're living. In that instant, you hold complete agency. You can choose to open your arms and welcome them back under newly defined standards, or continue to uphold your energetic detachment as a reminder that only relationships grounded in authenticity and mutual respect deserve space in your world. After you have solidly implemented energetic detachment, living fully as yourself and generating a quietly magnetic energy wave, the next step is to deeply understand the delay in the feeling of missing, a characteristic psychological phenomenon in avoidance that requires your patient leverage. When you completely cease all contact, their avoidance mechanism will not immediately surrender those feelings of emptiness. Instead, during the first few weeks, typically the initial 3 to 4 weeks, they may actually feel relief, as if they've shed the emotional burden of having to maintain a connection. They busy themselves filling the void, working overtime, socializing with friends, indulging in new hobbies, even diving headlong into work or entertainment activities to evade confronting their own longing. This temporary busyness often discourages many who attempt the no-contact strategy, leading them to break the principle prematurely simply because they see no immediate sign of remorse or a craving to return from the avoidant. However, you must remember, for an avoidant, the sense of absence arrives late, typically around the 5th or 6th week of the separation. It is at this point that their self-preservation nervous system orders a reevaluation of the lost safety and attachment when they gradually realize there is no lifeline you will come to throw them. At this stage, they experience a deep emptiness that seeps into every thought and cannot be filled by other distracting activities. If you hastily send a text or sneakily check their stories, you will interrupt this critical moment, preventing them from fully realizing what they've truly been missing. Therefore, understanding the lagging rule of the missing feeling is crucial for sustaining the separation long enough until the avoidant begins to question, what is she doing? Why doesn't she care about me anymore? And ultimately cannot bear the prolonged silence. Neuroscience explains that after weeks without contact, the prefrontal cortex, the brain's area governing safety and reward processing, triggers the dopamine-driven craving mechanism more strongly, compelling them to reconnect with the positive feelings you provided. When they start reminiscing about those warm moments, caring gestures, and your laughter, that is the very moment their heart rate accelerates, and they seek a way back to you. Remember, this delay is not a sign of failure, but a necessary stage to pass through. What you need to do is remain patient, continue to uphold your silence, and refine yourself every single day. Until they initiate the first message, place the first call, or seek you out in person, you have successfully navigated the most critical phase of attracting an avoidant. They miss you genuinely from within, not out of pressured habit or momentary confusion, but because you have become truly irreplaceable in their life. After you have mastered the delay and the feeling of missing and steadfastly maintained energetic detachment until the avoidant begins to experience that inner void, you will face the pivotal moment when they proactively reach out. This is not the time to rejoice or rush to respond, but rather the instant to affirm your self-worth and preserve the balanced power dynamic in the relationship. How you reply in this phase will determine whether they are genuinely ready to build a lasting connection or merely seeking momentary reassurance. First and foremost, maintain absolute calm. Don't rush to text back immediately out of fear they might disappear again, and avoid revealing excessive eagerness or overt gratitude. Instead, give yourself a brief pause, perhaps a few hours or even a full day, to collect your thoughts, assess their message, and ask yourself, is this greeting driven by genuine desire to reconnect, or simply to soothe their wounded ego? When you do reply, adopt a gentle yet clear tone that shows you value the conversation but are not dependent on it. For instance, you could start with a simple greeting and an open-ended check-in. Hi there, great to hear from you. How have you been? Rather than exclaiming, I've missed you so much, or thanks for remembering me. You allow them to sense that your response is a deliberate choice, not a knee-jerk reaction. Next, maintain a safe distance by not immediately diving into deeply personal topics or scheduling an in-person meeting. Give the relationship time to prove itself. They need to demonstrate effort and accountability in maintaining contact, while you preserve your dignity. For example, if they suggest meeting up, propose a suitable time later in the week or month of time to convey that you have your own schedule, but still open the door for connection if they truly care. Within your message, subtly convey your independence. Share briefly about activities you're pursuing, new hobbies that bring you joy, or personal milestones you've achieved. This approach lets them see that you're not waiting on them to feel complete, and signals that if they wish to remain part of your life, they must contribute positively to your ever-evolving world. Crucially, establish clear boundaries from the outset. If they inquire about why you went silent, respond honestly yet politely, explaining that you needed space to care for yourself and reevaluate the relationship. Your answer need not be lengthy or too concise sentences such as, I needed time to reorganize my life and clarify what I want. I'm in a better place now and open to listening. This method both demonstrates honesty and shifts the onus onto them. They must acknowledge and respect your need for space. When they follow up with genuine, persistent messages that reflect true concern, you have the foundation to decide whether to progress further or resume your silence. Conversely, if their replies are superficial and fleeting, remember this indicates they're not prepared to commit. In that case, you have every right to cease responding, maintaining your distance to safeguard your values and well-being. Thus, when they take the initiative to come back, you are not the desperate one scrambling to rescue the connection. You are a self-respecting individual who knows how to set boundaries and compels the other person to prove their worthiness to maintain the bond. This final step transforms your silence into power. You not only make them miss you, but you also create the opportunity for them to respect, cherish, and commit to a balanced, secure, and sustainable relationship. And that completes our journey of turning silence into a magnetic force for attracting an avoidant person from understanding the avoidant mechanism, implementing total no contact, maintaining energetic detachment through patiently waiting out the delay and longing, to managing the moment they reach out. Above all, the ultimate goal isn't to win a psychological game, but to rebuild the strongest, most autonomous version of yourself. When you fully commit to personal growth, enhance your intrinsic worth, and live each day to the fullest, you radiate a natural energy that captures anyone's attention, avoidant or not. Your silence isn't a shell of loneliness, but a declaration of self-respect and independence. Remember, any relationship worthy of your life must honor your space, value, and freedom. Thank you for watching until the end. If you found these steps valuable, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so you won't miss any more smart love strategies. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring how to build secure, mature relationships.